In the past few years, I've written over 3,000 plus pieces of copy in over 20 plus different niches. And whenever I go into a new niche, I use this same exact research process I'm going to reveal in this video to go from literally having no idea about what I'm writing about to knowing exactly who I'm talking to, knowing the exact brand terminologies, and basically everything I need to write $1 million copy for my clients. And I've written in a lot of niches, 20 plus niches. That includes info and a lot of biz op, literally everything in info and a few in e-com, right? And one quote I really like from Eugene Schwartz on research is that copy is not written, copy is assembled. You do not write copy, you assemble it. So basically, you don't just go on a paper and just writing words. There's no difference than like some SEO guy you can hire on Fiverr, right? There's no difference between you or someone on Fiverr if you're just writing words on the top. What our job as copywriter is, and if you're a business owner, then this is exactly what you should be doing if you're writing the copy yourself, is that you need to have proper research that you then make it into copy. So copy is not just like words, is research turned into copy. So it's like you turn that into copy and you refine it with words, and that's how you could pull the desire from your viewers, pull the desire from your readers, get in their head, and eventually get the sale. Now in this video, I'm going to be covering two ways on how to do market research. One is without AI, which I highly recommend because AI is good at research, but at the end of the day, you still have the doc ready, but you don't know about the market like inside your head the way you should, right? And the second way is obviously with AI, which I'm going to cover in the end of this video. But again, I highly recommend you go with the without AI part because the insights you're gonna get manually cannot be compared with AI. Now, if you're wondering who I am to say all this, I run a marketing agency where I help 7 to 8 figure businesses scale and add an extra 50 to 100K revenue by simply by weaponizing their email list, funnels, and some we also run cold traffic stuff. So that's what I do. That's my introduction, and let's dive in. So number one thing is your 5 aspects of research. Now most gurus will go on to you and say just, oh, you just made the avatar, you're done, or you just get the like pains and dreams and desires and you're done. No, 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 no. That's the biggest lie told to you because research is divided into 5 different parts, which are these. One is your market research that includes your awareness levels, sophistication levels. And if you don't know these terms, don't worry. I'm going to explain it in very detail in the next section. So terminologies, brand terminologies, competitors, angles. Then we have avatar research, and let me get my pen out. Then we have avatar research right here. Basically, who they are, what they want, their pains, their day to day life. And that's basically like a persona. And you make kind of like a persona of your ideal customer. Then we go on to the offer research. So that means features, benefits, unique mechanism, social proof, unique selling proposition, and brand wise. And then we have psychological and emotional research that includes your core desires, identity, hot buttons. And then lastly, we have distribution research. And if you're doing content or ads, this is like very important. So it's where they hang out, how they consume, and what they consume. Now, one quote I really like from David Ogilvy is the power, the force, the overwhelming urge to own what makes advertising works comes from the market itself, not from the copy. So this means really isn't the words on the page that do the magic, is this part right here. So right? The whole thing, all 5 aspects. So I want you to pay very much attention to what I'm about to reveal because it's going to set the foundation of the amount of money you're going to be making or your client is going to be making with copy, right? So first of all, we have target awareness. Now, target awareness is basically the amount of awareness they have about your brand or about the problem you're solving, right? So we have 5 stages. One is unaware. This means their life has no problems and they're like just chilling, right? They don't know they have an obvious problem. They're just there, right? They just exist. Second is problem aware. This means like, okay, they have an active problem they know about, but they don't know if solutions exist. Third is solution aware. This basically means, okay, they know they have a problem, active problem. They know that solution exists, but they don't know an exact method or product they should be using. Number four, we have product aware. So this means they know their problem exists. They know that, okay, solutions to this exist, and they know that, okay, your product is one solution to this, right? They know about your product. And most aware is basically at the complete bottom of the funnel, is basically the people who know they have a problem, know the solutions, know that your product exists, and they know that your product is one of the best ways to fix it. So obviously, like everything, like unaware people, you're going to have like 80% of your market. Then problem aware is going to be a bit less. Then solution aware less, product aware less, and most aware is just going to be a very little piece of the market. But these are the most warm people, and you're going to be making the most amount of revenue from the last three. So I always suggest to my clients to always target either problem aware or solution aware, or like if you're doing ads, target these two. And of course, retargeting ads would be for these two. And but if you're running content, then unaware is fine, right? So because when you're paying for traffic, you need to make sure you're making the most out of it. So again, I always recommend you go for these. And if you're running an email list, is they're obviously going to have a more higher awareness stage. And whenever you're running like a unaware or problem aware campaign, just make sure that you don't just sell them the product right away. You take them to a ladder. So it's like from unaware, you make the problem aware, then you make solution aware, the product aware, and so on. Right now, just quick examples here is I'm not going to go much deep into this because there is maybe I can make a future video on this, right? So this because this is a very extensive topic. So BizOp, if a problem aware unaware market, BizOp example would be like small business owner. Why 73 of business failed. Okay, so if you're a small business owner, you don't know, you're just chilling, right? You don't know you have an active problem. And same for neck device, you can just read this. And when you're in problem aware, you know, okay, I'm struggling. I have this specific problem. For example, I'm not landing clients or I'm not getting enough traffic. That's a specific problem. Then solution aware, they're going to be okay. I know to fix traffic, one solution is to buy someone's coaching who is higher than me and do whatever, right? Get run ads or whatever. That product aware is like, okay, this guy's like the reverse funnel hacking course looks very good. This the product aware business, the business owner is going to think, okay, this looks pretty good. And the most aware is going to be like, yep, I'm almost sold. Just give me more proof, and yeah, I'm sold. So that's awareness. And now we're going to do sophistication. Now, just like awareness, sophistication also has 5 stages. So it's brand new promise. Then you have kind of like rival. Then it's like you have to go into mechanisms, the saturation, and then you have to go on to experience and basically make a new stage. By sophistication, by the way, I mean that the amount they've like seen the same stuff over and over again. For example, now if you see how to make 10K online, you've seen this like million times before, like on every single social media platform. So it means you're like on the last stages. Like no one can just say, "Hey, this is how to make 10K a month," and you're just gonna be like, "Oh, it's 10K a month. Let me just go and buy it." Right? You're going to be like, "Yeah, I've seen this. I don't really care." But if someone say, "Okay, this specific method is this. These people are using this specific method to make this much amount of money or run ads or whatever," right? You're gonna be like, "Okay, this is interesting." Now that's how you grab attention for burnt out people, because when you use this type of targeting on this, you kind of like, I already know this, I've seen this a million times before, and you don't pay attention to it. But if you make it unique, then you're going to be like, okay, I've seen this. I've never seen this. This seems new and interesting, and I should look into it, right? So that's the basic of sophistication. You can read this as well to get more idea. Now, that leaves us with the question, how to target each type in your copy, right? Now, for awareness, you need to first, if you're targeting an unaware audience, you need to first educate the problem so they should know, okay, this is the problem, right? If they don't know, if you just start selling a product to people who don't even know they have a problem, it's just not going to work. Right? There's going to be a mismatch between who they are and what you're selling. So you need to first educate them on the problem. Then once they're problem aware, or if you start off by targeting problem aware, you introduce solution type. Like this is going to be your specific solution that your products uses, right? Don't just like tell them a random solution that is not even related to your product. You need to be very, very like specific here and be strategic. And then you explain the mechanism, then you differentiate product, then you nudge to the purchase. So it's like awareness 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is how you target it. And for sophistication is first, you're basically first in the market. You can just do say anything. For example, if it's imagine it's 2014, right? And someone goes to you, hey, here's how to make $10,000 a month using online business. And people like, oh, it's so new. It's your first in the market. That's why it's going to work. Simple, super simple marketing works in a very less sophisticated. Says if you're second in the market, like someone's already done that, okay, 10K a month online, you're gonna come and like, oh, to make like you basically enlarge the claim so or the mechanism. So it's going to be like, oh, here's how you can make 100K a month online, not even 10K, 100K a month, or this specific method of making 100K by drop shipping or whatever, right? Because you the people have already heard this and you want to say something new. But when you're at feed, they already know this. They've heard like millions times before. So you introduce a new mechanism to regain interest. So it's kind of like the reverse funnel hacking way to make $10,000 online, or the neck, like I don't know, like what device thingy to gain like the relief neck pain or whatever, right? Like you add a unique mechanism they've never heard before. It's like if someone's saying A, you say B. That's basically the main concept of this. And for coded mechanism, this is basically sophistication level 4. Basically, you offer a better version to stand out. Then you basically reset with a new mechanism to build a new trust. So again, if everyone's saying A, that to relieve neck pain, you need surgery. But you go like, no, you don't need surgery. You need heat therapy, massage therapy, or whatever, right? Then once you make a new thing in this, then you basically become, in one sense, become first in the market. So it's like a looping loop. Then people kind of rip you off. Then you become have to do this. Then people rip you off more. Then you have to do this, and it's like a never-ending cycle. Now, to know which level of sophistication and awareness your audience is, I would just suggest you ask your client, or if you are the client, then just know you should already know what you're targeting, right? If you don't, then just let me know, just DM me and I'll kind of coach you on that. Now, second is now once you have the awareness and market sophistication state, it's time to learn the terminology of the market. Now, this is very important because what most people do is they go on write copy and they just write it in their own voice and they use like super basic term that the market doesn't even use. So it's like if you're in real estate, right? And there's like a lot of term like MLS, like sourcing, like Zillow, like all these softwares and terminologies they use, right? And I had to learn that the hard way. I'm going to give you the example again. So it's basically like if you're there using that terminology and you're just using, hey, here's how to find real estate deals. You're not going to impress them. You're going to like, yeah, this guy does not know what he's talking about. Let me just throw him out. I'll just go with this super shiny guru that's telling me MLS and Zillow shit, right? So that's why it's super important to know your terminologies. Now, the way I like to find terminologies and like kind of know about what the niche is, especially if you have zero idea about what you're doing, is watch 3 to 4 YouTube videos on the topic. So write down the basic terms and ideas. For example, let me just show you, right? I have this doc that I can send it to you. Just let me know. Just DM me on Instagram. Link is in the below. That hey, I want the research doc and I'm going to send it to you because I don't have any specific like fancy email list set up right now. So it's like you basically click, okay, this is my mechanism. This is blah blah blah, right? And then you start off it filling the sheet in. So what I usually like to do is I like to go on YouTube and basically search about the topic. For example, if I'm in real estate, I'm going to learn how to start a real estate business. And real estate business, you're going to basically the first video you see with the most views is the video you should watch. Then you're gonna watch this.
Hey friends, Chris Krong here, and today we're
So,
talking about
so basically, you're gonna watch this, and you have the market research doc ready. And whenever he says a new term that you're not aware of, like a market related term, you go here and just type it down. Like, oh, what's he saying? Oh, he's saying Zillow. Let me use it Zillow, and then type explanation. One thing you can also do to know the terminologies is just say real estate terms and definitions, right? And it's going to basically give you kind of videos like these, like terms fast. It's like ABCs of this, that, and you can just watch these videos and you can kind of like figure out the terminologies you need to use. And with after you find the terminologies, go to the same YouTube videos you watched and go back and go now start reading the comments. In the comments, you're going to find a lot of good stuff. Like there's going to be people asking questions, they're going to have doubts, they're going to be kind of like educating, like, hey, I tried this, they're going to be telling the journey. So this is very, very valuable research. So I just want you to kind of just fill it this in. Terminologies, you put it here. You right? You don't have to worry about this right now. You go into this, you see, okay, they're having this objection. They're like, hey, does this work in Spain? Does this work in Dubai, right? If they're like, oh, let me just write it down here. Does this work in Dubai, right? If they're going to have that objection, just write it down. You don't have to worry about making it fancy. Just you want to get as much stuff in there as possible. So later on, you can refine it and make it like fancier, right? So that's how you find the terminologies. And you do this with all the videos you watch, 3 to 4 videos you watch. You see, okay, what he's targeting in the video, and you go ahead and go down in the comment and just basically go and common objections, what they want, don't want, how they describe their journey, right? There's going to be comments where they're going to be like, oh, I started real estate 5 years ago and this is whatever happened, right? So you just note that down and fill this sheet in and do this with YouTube comments. Then if you don't find good YouTube comments, and if even if you do, then I also suggest you go to Reddit and go to a subreddit. Like I don't have Reddit installed or I don't have signed in, but you basically go and search a subreddit and go into just search the niche term. For example, you say SAS, r/SAS. Go to that subreddit, see like what people are rambling about, because people on Reddit like to cry about a lot, right? So see, and what you need to be writing down is the terms they use, problems they face, what they don't like and like, what they want and don't want, how they want to be in 10 years and where they don't want to be. There are people going very deep into their feelings, you could say, in like these forums and stuff, as Quora, Reddit, even on X, right? So you have to listen to them, you have to see what they're saying and write it down, because that's exactly how you're basically going to use their exact words and going to transform them into your own copy. And you know it's going to hit them because it's their words, their own words, right? And you see how they talk about the journey, use their words in your copy, just like I said, their objection, their feelings and emotion. You'll see their common stories, experience they share. For example, like, okay, you see, oh, all these kind of feel like have the same stories, though they they were like old people and they were working a 9 to 5. They hated their 9 to 5. Now they had like some budget saved up and they wanted to get in real estate. Then blah blah blah. You're gonna see. Okay, this is a very common story among the target or market, like who we're targeting, right? So you write these down, you fill the sheet in, like how they describe the journey. You can just copy paste it exactly again. Don't worry about the formatting. That does not matter right now. And if it's e-commerce, and read Amazon Trustpilot reviews. For example, if you're selling like a device or a physical product, go on Amazon or competitor products, right? And just read the reviews they have. They're going to be like, oh, this is good. My life changed. And there are going to be some people rambling about the stories like, oh, my life was so good. My life feels so bad. This was this, that, and same with Trustpilot. Trustpilot reviews are very, very valuable. One thing you can also do, and of course, it's not like you don't have to see AI as your villain. I'm just saying don't choose AI directly, like just to do everything for you, but you can use it to help you. So one thing I've seen people do is go like copy all the Trustpilot reviews, go to Claude, and just ask it to extract all the juicy research for you, like what they don't like, what they like. Just give the same thing, like, okay, you go through all these reviews and extract the following things, and you just copy paste these bullets. So guys, that's a quick hack for you right there. Again, check Twitter for say check Twitter, go for the same things I mentioned above, and put everything you find into one live document. So again, fill the sheet in, copy paste. Don't worry about the formatting. We don't really need that. You just want to see, okay, we have something ready. Now, honestly, that is good enough to write copy. That is, if you're writing like, okay, copy, that is good enough. But if you want to write copy that generate millions, good enough is not good enough. To get into that next level, you need to research competitors, avatar, build an avatar, build your offer, get their emotional state, and etc. So the question is, how do you research competitors? Now, the reason you want to research competitor is because a lot of the times your competitors have done the heavy lifting of testing for you. So they're using the right research as they've tested it already. So you can simply copy them and use it for yourself. So what you should be researching in competitor is VSLs, ads. VSLs are very, very valuable in research, by the way. They're like all very, very research heavy. So look into those. Sales page, sales letters, editorial emails, and ask yourself while reviewing this, while watching these, like, and while analyzing these, what claims are they making? For example, they say, okay, they're saying they're not saying make $10,000 a month. They're saying make $300 a day. That's a good claim. That's a like good claim to make. Just now note that down over here. This is the competitor research section in the doc. Just say, okay, this is the claim they're making, and like research 3 to 4 competitors. That is enough for you to get an understanding of what other people are doing and what you can kind of rip off and make it your own, and like make it even better, right? And you say, okay, if that's the claim they're making, like if they're saying, okay, make $300 like per day, how are they proving it? What justification did they use? Did they use like, oh, you're running out of time? Did they use urgency? Or did they use kind of like, okay, if you don't make money, you're going to be, family is going to be this, right? You have to see what kind of proof they're using to justify their claim. Then you say what objections they are the neutralizing. For example, if some they're saying, okay, and you can do this from anywhere in the world, right? And they're going to be like, oh, one objection they handled was that anyone in the world can do this, right? And from any country. So one the objection was that can I do this in a third world country or a second world country, right? And then is which emotion is triggered and how. This is much deeper though. And require more like thorough explanation. Basically means, okay, are they going more on like their emotions? Are they justifying it more logically? For male audience, male dominant audience is going to be more logical. For female dominant audience, it's going to be much more emotional, like kind of like girly language, right? So it's different for both ends. Now, for target market versus avatar ICP. So basically, I want to explain the concept of your target market and of an avatar. And these two terms are very kind of confused. People confuse it together. But in super simple terms, target market is a lot of very heavy group of people, like a lot of people, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who share the same, kind of the same pains, dreams, like hopes, fears, and everything. Meanwhile, your avatar is a single person, like who is your ideal client. Again, I'm going to repeat, your target market is a group of people who share the same pains, dreams, hopes, desires, whatever, right? They have kind of like the same stuff. And your avatar is super specific, it's like inside the market research, like very small, specific people in your research document who is basically going to be your ideal client. That's why it's also called an ideal client profile, right? So that's the difference. Now, to research avatar, you basically go and kind of like make a profile into it. For this, I like to use AI, which I'm going to cover later on, right? Now, then you offer your research, and then you research your offer, like what research is you're doing. You just need this. Now, there are many ways to do this. You can have a call with the business owner yourself. Again, if you are the business owner, you would know this. If you don't have, like, you can't get on the call, then just go ask them for the access of the product or the course or mentorship, whatever, and just go through everything and like find this stuff out, right? You can just see this right here. Then you can extract the sales page, and like if they deny, which I hope they don't, right? They're otherwise they're not even a good client to work with. So if they say, okay, I won't let you access to the course, then you're going to basically go into the sales page and extract these stuff right here. Because if they have a sales page, they probably explain kind of like the offer and everything, and you just can easily grab this stuff. So that's how you research the offer. After that is psychological and emotional research. Now, these are your core desires, feared outcomes, identity, anti identity, and situational triggers. Again, you can read this for more context. Now, how to find these? Now, for this, YouTube, you filter it from this air, then most popular, then copy 25 plus comments with pain attend decisions. So it's like everything come back to the basic. Going into YouTube, watching YouTube videos, going into Reddit, finding stuff. It all comes down to the same thing. Only how it's just how you are formatting it into the doc, right? So again, you go on YouTube and you basically filter it from this air, so it's like recent, and then you filter it with most popular. You copy the same stuff. Again, go on to Reddit, copy 30 plus replies and reviews. Again, social to Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, even Discord groups if you can find them, and like copy 15 short lines with slang shortcuts. What this is going to do is going to tell their emotional state. Okay, what kind of emotions are they feeling on the daily basis? Are they having like highs in more than they're having lows, or are they always kind of like, oh, I'm so bad, I'm so terrible, right? You want to make sure you know this stuff because that's exactly how you get inside their head. And when you get inside their head, you kind of relate to the copy. It's so good that readers think, oh, how does he know me so well, right? That's the amount of research you should do. And that's my main principle. Like, you do enough research that you can explain their lives better than they can explain their like themselves. Now for distribution research, this is optional. I always don't do this. Depends on the type of copy you're writing, right? So what we're going for is looking for is platform, top creators, communities, basically what they're consuming, like what creators do they watch. You watch that as well. And what the community is there, and go into the community, see what they're saying. You see, okay, this is the high performing like formats. For example, if you're running ads, you're going to be go like, oh, the podcast style ads are doing well in this niche I'm going in, right? Or this specific reel format is doing like wonders, so let me just copy it. So you're gonna see the common claims they make, common proof time, like how they justify their claims, awareness fit, like which stages to hit on that platform. So example, if an ad is say, here's how to fix your neck pain, like that's a very basic example, but you get the point. So it's like they're basically targeting a problem area of this saying, oh, are you tired of pills? Then they are again targeting problem aware or whatever, right? You just see, okay, this is what they're doing. And once you have that, congratulations, you're done with your market research and you are more than ready to assemble $1 million copy. Now the only question remains is how do you use the market research doc you just created to find winner copy angles? Now, obviously, if you're just writing something one off like a sales page, sales letter, VSL, or like a few set of ads or few set of emails like a sequence or something, then you won't need to do what I'm saying, right? Or you can technically for the first thing I'm going to tell you, but you won't have to like constantly find new ideas, and that is fine. But if you're like writing daily slash weekly emails or whatever bi-weekly you're doing, or if you're writing ads, like consistent ads, and you're writing short form or long form content, then most probably you're going to need fresh ideas every few weeks, every few days, right? So the way I like to find these winner angles and winner ideas is basically two things. One is going to the market research doc, mark I'll just say MD, market research doc, and you can do the following, which I'm going to show. Now, for the market research doc, the way I do it is I go to the doc. Let's say I have this fully filled out. So what I'm going to do, everything here is one email or one ad. Every single objection, for example, here, if the common objection from comments, does this work in Dubai? Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this more generalized. Like, can you do this or like in any country? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that into an email or an ad. Like, and that's going to be the main angle. Like, for example, the angle could be, hey, name, I get this question a lot, is that can you do real estate in any country or is it only good for the US? Right? Then once you get, then you justify it. And that's like a whole email or a whole ad or a whole short form, right? So because people don't know that, people want to know this and nobody answers this. So if you answer it, then obviously you're going to win, right? So that's one way to do it. So use the fairs. Like if the fair is like, I'm not good enough. You can just say, like, you can assemble like a story, like with a lesson that, okay, being good is enough is just a psyop or whatever, right? So use every single line you just wrote inside this doc and turned that into one piece of content. And there's almost unlimited ideas because there's so much. And since we're going to be immersed into the market, we're going to constantly be finding new angles and everything. Now, another thing is market immersion. Now, what market immersion is you go to the market and you like, instead of just doing the research once, you just kind of immerse in yourself in the market. It's like, think of it like learning a language, right? So the way you learn English or whatever language you're learning, maybe you're learning Spanish or using Duolingo or whatever, right? You can't just like learn it once and you're going to be set for life. No, you're constantly immersed into the language. You're constantly like using the language. You're constantly watching videos in that language, or you fully immerse yourself in that language until you're fluent. Right? That's exactly how you should see your research as well, because you can't just do more research well and just decide, oh, I'm never going to do it again. If you're constantly using that like research, or you're constantly targeting that niche or using angle like writing copy for that niche, then you're going to constantly need new angles. And the way you do that is immersing yourself in the market like you would immerse yourself in learning a new language. So the way you do that is, first, make a competitor list with their YouTube IG and watch their content every now and then. So for example, if I'm in real estate, right, my competitor list would be or Chris Cron, or I don't know who else is on real estate. I forgot. And maybe like, let's say there's someone, the guy named Anthony. Like these, I'm going to make like 3 to 5 people who are like top players, 3 top players and 2 like mid players. Make a list of those people. Like then you will have like 5 people here, and then add their YouTube, IG, and every few days just go and like kind of binge their content and see what they're doing, like what they're making content about, what's working, and what's getting more views, and what are people asking below in the comments. Just like immerse yourself in the content and in what they're doing, right? And you can even do this for the Facebook ad library. If for an econ, just like pick a few competitor brands and just like watch their ads every now and then, see what they're doing, what format they're using, what style they're using, right? And once that's done, you also sign up to competitor email lists. So this way you can also read their emails every few now and then, right? Just make a filter that, hey, this is the filter that only this person, and just read all their emails. And then you watch and read what your audience feeds. Basically it's the same thing, right? So if you want to know your audience as deeply, or if not more deeper than they know themselves, then you need to be watching and reading what your audience reads. So if, for example, if they're reading books on self-improvement, you need to read that book as well. See, okay, what they're doing. Let me see, right? You need to kind of constantly immerse yourself in what they're doing to always be fresh in the market. And again, keep up with the news in the niche. This is a very, very good way I learned from my mentor to find like relevant news and connect it to like the niche, and make a email or short form content or like ad or whatever, right? For example, let's say if, for example, Iman Ghazi just decides to buy like $1 million in crypto, right? Just imagine that, right? And that's like very the hot news everyone's talking about. Yo, Ivan just bought this many Bitcoin. And if you're a Bitcoin guru or even a real estate guru, you can just say, use of that. Like, hey, this guy bought this many Bitcoins. And then you kind of connect it to a story. So it's like, the reason he did this is that. And then you kind of connect it with your point. For example, if you're doing in real estate, you can connect kind of Bitcoin is kind of like digital real estate, right? You own the thing and it goes up and down like real estate. But the thing with Bitcoin is that you never know when it's going to flop. But with real estate, is the thing is like, then you can also justify that, hey, real estate, like in Bitcoin, people have lost this much. But in real estate, you don't really lose as much as money as you do in these digital coins. That's why I always suggest people to go into real estate if they need to invest. And like, there's a banger email or an ad itself, right? I just did that all from the top of my head. So that's how you constantly find winner angles. So just basic principle is just watch and read what your audience reads, right? Or watches, whatever. So that's how you find winner angles and constantly be fresh on email angles. Now, the last thing we have is how to use AI to do research. Now, this is the most fun part, and I'm going to go very deep into this. And just before I go into this, I would like to kind of shout out my mentor, Henry, who hooked me up with these prompts and everything. And this is like completely by him. I didn't even edit it or anything because it just works so good. So the way you do research with AI is I like to use this. I know people just say, "Hey, what are the benefits?" Like they just say, go to ChatGPT and say, "What are 10 fares this market has?" But in my opinion, that gives you very crappy research. And especially now you have tools like deep research. You just it's like why use old ways when you have like good tools available? So what this my mentor taught me is very good. So what you do is you go to a competitor. Let's say my competitor is Iman Gadzi. Like of course Iman Gadzi digital launchpad, right? If I'm here, this is digital launchpad. I'm going to first if it has a VSL. VSLs are very good for this, but it doesn't seem like it has a VSL. So what I would usually do is I'll just download the VSL. I'll transcribe it using some free transcriber online, and I'm going to put it in as the transcribe. But here, obviously, there is no transcript. So I use this extension named Go Full Page. You can like it's free and you basically captures the whole page. So for example, it's capturing the whole page right now. No, once it's done, it's going to put you like the whole page, right? So you download it as a PDF or an image. This is too long. That's why I'm downloading it as a PDF. And then you go to ChatGPT, you feed it this PDF, let it like kind of like load it, and then you copy go into this same doc, which you're gonna get access to. Just DM me on Instagram. Then, all right, then you just copy paste you said the same thing. Again, we did the sales page here. If it was a VSL, you would put the VSL transcript. So what this basically does is okay, no text could be extracted. Now there's a problem. Now here you could then like I just save it as an image, right? So download PNG and you put the PNG. There you go. The PNG is there. So what you do is you paste this exact prompt, and what this does is breaks down the audience and kind of reverse engineers what your audience, what is audience is. So you click enter, and it's going to do the thing. Now ChatGPT 5 is pretty slow, so I'm going to skip this part. All right, so it's finally done. It took way too long for it to analyze this. But now what you have is going to be an extraction of everything, like what USP is it using, whatever it's using, right? You don't know, you can read through it if you want, but I usually just skim through it, see if it's good. And if it's good, what you do is you're gonna go to back to your system or whatever you're doing, right? The doc, you're gonna get this doc by the way, just DM me. So you copy the next prompt, which is step 2. Then you're gonna copy this. Then you're going to basically paste it into ChatGPT. And what you're going to do, you're going to enable deep research mode. And what this is going to do is basically going to go through the internet, search everything on the internet like very deeply, and find everything we just told it to. And we don't have to tell it what our like offer is or like our audiences because this is our direct competitor we are using the offer of, right? So that's why it's like you don't have to explain it to the audience. So you just hit enter and it's going to first like ask you a few questions which you can basically answer. Clarify which niche or outcome path this is more confident kindly of. Just answer that. And it's going to then go into deep research mode. Now this is going to take very long, like 5 to 10 minutes, even sometimes it takes 15 to 20 minutes. So you have to hang on with this. All right, so we're back and it's done, finally done with the deep research. Like I just went out and did a full cardio session. And so my basic point is just do something productive while it's doing this. You just don't have to stare at the screen, right? So once it's done, it's going to give you like a very, very long piece of research doc. And of course, it's like too big for you to like go through. So now it comes to step 3. Copy this, you copy this whole thing. Again, shout out to my mentor Henry for doing this for me and helping me with this whole process. So you go there, you just copy paste the entire step 3 prompt, which is again of this whole like thing. This basically formats the whole thing into something very good, like something you can actually read, right? So you're gonna do this, and you're just gonna give it this prompt. And ChatGPT just loves me, so it's like doing it in both ends. So you can just choose one response, but it's still giving both. Now again, you wait and see what gives. All right, so it's finally done. So look at this beauty. Like it gave me two, but obviously you're gonna get one most of the times. But whatever, right? So look at this. It's going to be very, very detailed. So it's like going to tell you the age, like excuse me, like our identity, blah blah blah. Actual 0 to 28 K income, right per year, and desired is 82 to 50K plus, with Fed spice of 10K a month, six figures remotely, right? Single or situationship, if partner money condition is blah blah blah, right? This is like very, very detailed. So you're not going to get more detailed output from AI. Besides this, like you can read this and it's genuinely the most detail is going to get, like how to make, like, come on, this is good. So that's how AI does it. Like you can replicate and camera 20 day in life for marketing, Alex from Multiplators, Gary V's friends, right? Like the gurus they watch. So about the very details, you can just copy the whole thing. So what you're going to do is you're going to copy this whole thing and you're gonna copy paste into a doc. Of course, I'm gonna remove it from here, but and you're gonna have it like fully format, like it's so good. Now, what you have to do is just read this 2 to 3 times, which is how many words? 3,000 words. Just to read it 2 to 3 times so you kind of get the hang of what you're talking to and who you're talking to. And yeah, that's then you're done with the research with AI. But again, you were not going to get like insane insights like you would do in manual. But if you're doing it, you need it fast, then there's this way, right? There's always a way to do it with AI. Now, that was the both research process with and without using AI. Now, if you want to work with my agency for a business owner making 30K or more per month and want my help from my agency to add an extra 50 to 100K a month by optimizing your email list funnels or whatever problems you're having with ads content, right? Then you can go down below this video and book a free call with me and we can go from there and I'm going to audit all your things and we're going to make a lot of money together. That's it for this video and I'm going to see you on the next one.